We have a special event coming up on Thursday evening that we want to let you know about. It's part of our Time for Kids effort with SSM Health. We know that this time of year can be very challenging for families.
All this stressful back-to-school stuff, so we're encouraging everyone to take time to talk about mental health with a back-to-school phone bank, and we'll have more on that in a moment. But first, we want to welcome in Monica Wightman. She's with the Department of Public Instruction here, and welcome to Live.
Hey, Monica, good to see you again.
Thanks for being here. You know, mental health, we were talking about this in the break. Years ago, nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to put that out there. I don't know if it was an embarrassing thing that was handled internally, you know, with our generations prior, but now this is something that people are talking about, and it's making a difference.
Right, and so people are much more open and more willing, particularly our young people, who I think are really ahead of us in being able to say, this is what's happening for me. And so the question is, are we ready? If they're going to open up to us and trust us and say, I've got a lot going on in my life, both inside and outside of school, are we ready to support them?
And how are schools meeting them where they need to be?
So we have a real new focus on school mental health in our state, all the way from the top with Dr. Evers on down. The Joint Finance Committee just gave us some good news in school mental health yesterday. It's moving forward. And our local communities are being so creative because they're saying we all have an investment in our kids. And so teachers are getting more aware of how to identify kids who are struggling. They're learning how to have those crucial conversations. Families are willing to say, hey, I'm curious about what's happening with my son or daughter. How do we bring out the best in them?
And it really starts at the very youngest ages, right? It really starts young.
And we are seeing that even in the early years in school. We're seeing kids who are stressed, and of course we want them to be able to learn at their best, so we want to be able to support them.
Well, there's so many emotions tied to this time of the year, especially for kids that are making transition years, kindergarten, middle school, or high school. So it seems like a perfect time to maybe even ask your kid how they're feeling and start the conversation.
Right. It is perfect timing, and it's good for you to note the transitions, because whenever there's change, kids are showing up with a lot of questions. They're curious, am I going to fit in? Is this going to be a good environment for me? So it's great timing.
And it's not always easy for parents to know if their child is going through something. You know, even kids try to hide things.
They do.
And they don't want to be, you know, they don't want to have to go to the doctor or see somebody sometimes.
That's
so
right.
What are some things you might say to parents about that?
Well, so kids communicate with us in all kinds of ways, right? Through their behavior, through what they say, through what they don't say. If they begin to isolate or pull away, or there's some changes that are happening in their lives, just get curious with them and pay attention, you know, and persist until you, by offering that good and listening and empathic response. And I think parents worry a little bit, like, am I going to be blamed? Like, did I do a bad job somehow if you're struggling? Simply, that's not the case. That if we model for them that help seeking is okay, that we can support each other when life is hard, then we're going to be in a much better place. How
do you think we're doing with the stigma of mental illness? Do you think the openness that a lot of kids feel to talk about how they're feeling, is that a big step forward, do you think, or do you think that the fight is still there?
I think both. I think young people are a little bit ahead of us. I think that there's a little bit of a willingness, but I think we still have the bootstraps mentality, right? That somehow you have supposed to pick yourself up and be strong, and particularly for young men, you know, we don't share those hard feelings. We have to be tough all the time. So we definitely have a way to go in terms of addressing stigma and help seeking and things like that. But for example, we have therapists coming to schools now, you know, where they'll come in a day a week and help us out. Schools can't do it by themselves. We thought, is that going to be hard for kids? It's not. They go and they get the support, and then the kid next to them says, hey, how did you get that appointment? So if they're letting us know that they're ready and willing, and we just need to be open to that idea.
And no matter how small that issue might be, the students need to know there are people on staff at schools there to help them, and they want them to come forward no matter how small that thing might be.
Absolutely. So yes, teachers are ready, school counselors, nurses, psychologists, social workers. We're on board, we're ready to go, we're working with our partners. We're ready.
All right. Students, keep that in mind. Parents as well. Monica, great to have you.
Monica, great to see you. Keep up the great work.
You stopping by. And medical experts will be answering calls and questions, helping your family start the school year in a healthy and happy way. You can make an anonymous call if you want. Call that number on your screen. It's 274-4000. That's from 4 to 6:30. It'll be Thursday evening. We'll also ask the doctors for advice live on air throughout the evening.
Boy, it's a great opportunity to get some free advice. And as always, if you need information or resources on mental health, visit our Time for Kids Time to Talk page on channel3000.com and also on the Channel 3000 Facebook page.
And we'll be right back.